Welcome. Good to see everybody, although I can't see anyone. We're here back for our summer series. Dean Cottrill here from T360. I've got Lisa right here with me. Hey, Lisa, good to
Hi
see
there,
you.
great to see you. And we're excited to have Kathy Amess with us from Forest Realty from London, Ontario. So thanks so much for joining us, Kathy.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So today we thought we'd dive into marketing a bit and talk about one of the modules that we do in our T3 Fellows program is the brand story module. We have several marketing modules, but Kathy is in our program and I've been really impressed with her marketing, honestly. It's awesome. Love it. And Kathy, you recently went through a total rebranding of your company. So tell us a little bit about that, what worked well for you and what you might do differently.
Yeah, we did that November 4th. So it was a bit not too long ago, but now we're all settled in and everyone's used to it. It was sort of a hasty, not a hasty decision, but a hasty process. We did it in about 3 to 4 weeks, which is something I would not recommend. I would recommend doing it quickly, but maybe not as quickly as that. It was an interesting process, and if it's something somebody's thinking about, I'd encourage them to do it.
Awesome. And what went well, and what might you do differently on that, other than extending the timeline, which you've talked about?
Yeah. Well, what went well is that I had a really good team that was helping me with it. So initially, when I decided to make the change, the only person that knew was one of my office admin people and one of my social media people, and then a marketing person that was helping me do some of the design work on the signs and things like that. And then as time went on, I involved the rest of my admin team. None of the realtors knew in advance. And that was something to me that went really well because it was a lot easier to manage the discussion and the rollout and all of that stuff. So if anyone was considering doing a rebrand, that's something that I would 100% recommend. We changed the signs, the cards, everything all on the same day, social media, all of it. So it was pretty seamless for the agents, even though it was a big shock. Some of the things that maybe didn't go as smoothly as I would have liked are some of the back end stuff that you don't really think about, like all of the banking and, all of the extra stuff that you forget about having to change, that, you log in somewhere and you're like, oh crap, I forgot, that was still under the old name. And so there's a lot of that sort of stuff to do, but generally any of the front facing stuff I think went really well.
Awesome.
One thing, if I can jump in real quick, Kathy, to give for those that are watching this and hearing you, it'd be great to give them some sense of the size of your organization, your time in the business, because you've got a real rich history in the business. So, but those that are watching who don't know you don't know this. So if you could just give them some sense of your background, your personal background, and also your current organization size, scale, things like that.
Yeah, sure. So we have 90 realtors, and I say we when I refer to the office, but I am the only owner. And so the burden falls on me, which sometimes that's a little bit much to deal with, but yeah, there's 90 of us. I've been in the business for 30 years, had a brokerage for 8.5. So we were 7.5 years with the previous brand. And then we've, like I said, switched over November 4th. So it was a lot of orchestrating to change everybody's sign, have that already, have all those signs ordered, out to the sign people so that they're all changed on the same day and all that sort of things. The organization of all of it was a huge, that's a huge accomplishment to do the organizing. So,
yeah.
But yeah, the brand has evolved over the years. When we were with our old name, we did some of the things we do now, but we've really kind of dived a bit deeper into we don't have the limitations that we had before with the old brand.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. So after your rebranding, you joined our T3 Fellows program, our spring program in March. So I know brand story module is module 4. And as part of that, we have you do a brand archetype quiz. So tell us where you landed on that and the results and your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so the brand archetype quiz, when we originally had our, when we had our keynote about that. And, you know, you were pretty bang on when you said what our type would be, which was the entertainer. To me, that was a really fun process. I really like marketing. I have no marketing background other than selling real estate, but it's nice to know that you can actually have a business proposition that's fun, because so many things in our industry, particularly in the area that I operate in, are very old and traditional and not really a whole lot of fun, very corporate. So it was really, it's good to hear that you can kind of leverage that in a space that a lot of people think is not necessarily fun, and make it that way and be different from everybody else, so that you're not all, you know, sitting around in meetings and talking about your contracts and your awards and things like that. So that was, to me, the branding has been the most fun. And it's also that particular, that particular part of the program was good, because you also see how your branding can fit into other parts of your business. So, you know, when you discuss about your staffing and things like that, because your brand archetype is not just about your advertising, it's also about, it's almost like your philosophy of how you do business, and, you know, how you're going to treat your staff and your customers, and, you know, how you want to be perceived, or, you know,
Your curb appeal.
your persona, right?
Yeah.
So we did also training with the realtors. We leveraged that same brand archetype quiz with the agents, and we had a special office meeting for that, and they loved it as well. So it was really interesting to see their different viewpoints on it also.
I love it. I guess yours, because in doing your marketing review, I love the videos. They're so fun. And even the photo behind you, I keep thinking of the book, you know, that frog, but it just shows the personality and the humor. And Kathy does these awesome agent videos that really feature the agents and who they are. And when you look at the support staff, they have 2 dogs on the support staff, which is just makes it, there's just a lot of humor and your culture, and you can see it in your events and your company video and all of that. So, so I know there were some things that you were like, I need to make changes as a result of my archetype. So you're talking a little bit about that right now. Anything to add to that?
Yeah, for sure. So I think if our, you know, brokerage brand is that entertainer and that sort of brand, then that's what we should be promoting to our staff. We have kind of already been doing that, but not in such a intentional way. And I use that word intentional because in the back of our office, we actually have a giant thing on the wall that says be intentional. And that's been there for like 3.5 years. And so when we did this particular segment of the fellows program, you know, I really thought, well, I need to like kind of walk that talk. And so trying to bring some of that intentionally into the other things that we do. So with some of the staff that we're going to be hiring, and you know, more of the training that we're going to be doing. Not that we ever did training about how to build your database, but you know, training that leans more into people's personality and developing their business as a person as well. So I realize that doesn't necessarily feed into what they want to do, but that's fine, right? Like if you want awards and you want to put posters up and say how fantastic you are, then, you know, this probably isn't the place for you, but that's fine, right? There's something for everybody. So I really have sort of made peace with the fact that like we're going to appeal to who we're going to appeal to, and we're going to develop the personalities and culture that we want based upon that. So like that was something that for me in this particular part of the course was really impactful.
Right. Awesome. Dean, do you have a question?
Yeah, I just was letting you go, and Kathy, just listening to you, the intentional piece, being there for years, it's, many times these exercises, like the brand exercise that we're talking about specifically on this call, but the other exercises really just kind of elevated up. I always use that ladder analogy, where what rung are you on the ladder, in brand example. So you were touching on it, you were in some place, you had a place in your heart and your mind of your organization, but it wasn't honed in to the level it's honed in now. It's not as clear yesterday as it is today for you after going through this process. And that clarity brings about a level of comfort and confidence about who you are, your talk, your speak, like you just said, if you're all into awards and things like that, somebody might be in awards. The nice thing about creating a higher level of clarity in your brand is that it's not alienating people from you. Actually, people are more attracted to it because you are so much more confident in who you are and what you stand for, like the frog with the glasses behind you. So people like to have fun. Now they might have their trophy, they might have that piece to them, but they like the fact that you're comfortable and confident in your space, and people like to be around people that are comfortable and confident in their own space. And so you actually, what we find is you attract more talent and you retain even more talent because you have that higher level of clarity of who you are and why you do what you do.
Oh, absolutely, for sure. Like, don't get me wrong. If somebody likes awards and that sort of thing, then we do awards. Like, I begrudgingly do awards. I'm not a big awards person, but it's not the thing that we focus on. It's important for people to do well, because obviously you're in business to make money and feed your family and all of the rest of it. But I think it's important to find something that resonates with you, like whatever that is. And to your point, people are going to thrive in that environment if they feel comfortable and they feel that it's more in line with who they are. And so I really think that, like, I think the brand story thing also makes it a lot easier to make decisions about things that you're going to do or things you're not going to do, because it's like, okay, well, real estate is really terrible for getting called for all kinds of, lead generation or all of this, like whatever it is, right? Like realtors are the easiest people to sell something to, I think. And so it really helps you avoid those mistakes, because it's like, well, no, this doesn't fit in with where I'm going or who I am. And I would say the same with a brokerage or individual salespeople.
Yeah. Excellent.
Right. Any two or three key takeaways that you'd like to share for our audience on rebranding or uncovering your brand story?
Well, for rebranding, if it's something that people are considering, I think that give it some serious consideration, but don't do it for too long. Like, you need to kind of make a gut decision and go with that and then act upon it, because there's no point in spending your time and energy promoting something that you don't believe in or you're going to change later on. If you're going to spend that time and money, you may as well promote it on something that's going to be around for the long term. So, like, rip the Band-Aid off, just do it, right? Just make the decision. Sometimes you're not 100% ready, but sometimes it makes you rise to the occasion, right? So that's one thing I notice about people, is that they just, paralysis by analysis. So I would encourage them to do that. Which, Dean, that probably does not surprise you, given how quickly I decided to take this course.
I was just going to bring that up.
Yeah, I looked at my calendar. It was like March 6th that I talked to you, and March 7th the course started. Yeah. So that would be the number one thing, is like, don't spend your time and money on something that you're not going to stay with.
So let's talk a little about fellows. Like, what, like you made that decision really quickly, and now you're 5 months into the program or 4 months into the program. How has it helped you so far?
So it's helped me be a lot more focused on some of the decisions that I'm making and some of where I want to go longer term, because I really sort of didn't know about some of those things. It's also helped me be more business-like in some of my decisions, because I'm generally not, I understand numbers and things, but I generally make a decision and somehow it'll work out. Like, it'll just work out because it has to. So it's helped me make a little bit more purposeful decisions or purposeful planning. And I think it's a really good tool if people want to talk to other people that have different ideas, and especially that aren't in your own area, because you really get stuck, especially if you're like, our city's like, 500,000 people, a lot of traditional brokerage models, and also, a lot of people that have been in the business for a long time, and there's not a lot of sharing between brokerages for obvious reasons. So I think that it really helps you have a different perspective and talk to some people that are sort of on the same path.
Awesome. Well, you've been a valuable asset to the group too. I love all the sharing that goes on. So anyone interested, we're starting our new fall fellows. We're accepting applications now for our fall fellows class, which will kick off in September. So reach out if you're interested. And Kathy, thanks so much for joining us and sharing your experience with us and your marketing and your brand story. And I'm a fan.
You're welcome. Thank you. I look forward to our next retreat in November.
Okay.
Thanks, Kathy.